That is essential. We have to go ahead. There are other concerns to be looked at. There will be a demand that we meet the goals of sustainable development. We have to look also at the issue of women, who are half the population of this country, more than half, and their status. It's well known because when I look around here, I see a few women in the hall. If I went to somewhere in the West, there have been far more. So these are some aspects. Social mobility. This will require a new system of education, more people in technology. How do you get that system of education going when there's a ceiling on your spending? The ownership of land, I must say, all those issues are covered by this seminar. So I will not deal with it at length, except to say that we need a social market economy today. Just as much as we must make money and make bigger profits, there must be more money available to people. The housing needs must be met in the next 15, 20 years. We have to meet them. Poverty should no longer be existent in the rural areas of Sri Lanka, or for that matter, the urban areas. We are a small country. We can go ahead. Remember, we are talking of a highly competitive economy. A highly competitive economy does not run on low wages. A highly competitive economy runs on high wages and a high productivity. Both those are necessary. Without those, we can't go ahead. Then we come to another issue of trade integration in the region. Unfortunately, I don't think you will see trade integration in the South Asian region. No. There will have to be bilateral agreements with whoever we want. There's too much of politics involved for there to be a regional trade agreement in South Asia. So we can keep that aside. We can have integration in dancing, we can have integration in cooking, but certainly are not going to have integration as far as the economy is concerned. Where do we go? We have to look at the ASEAN and the RCEP. Have bilateral agreements with some of the countries, but also agreements with ASEAN and with RCEP. That's a growing market, it's a big market, and the income levels are much higher. So let's look at it. Later on, you can look at Africa, East Africa especially. We must keep our economic relationships with Europe, and we have a UK that is looking for a role as a global Britain. So I think Sri Lanka can easily get closer and have a better relationship with UK. And then we get on to the US itself. US economy is also undergoing changes, and I think that will benefit us. But we have to remember one thing. Remember, the global situation next year is not going to be favorable to anyone. Let's hope 2024 will be better. But we have to get through all this. We have to find niche markets. We have to find the people. So all I can say to you, I think since, as I told you earlier, dealing with the issues, is are you ready to take up the challenge? Are you ready to influence other people to take up the challenge? Or are you going to sit back? Many people may not like to hear this, but in 1977 we wanted change. And when the government came, we made the changes. Few of us went into politics, others are not in politics. Some did some work and went back into business. Others stayed on in corporation. Nevertheless, we made that change. Unfortunately, we could not take it forward. That is what happened. So now we need the change. In between came globalization and this view that greed is good. I don't think you can go anymore with greed is good. That era is over. You have to be competitive. But our institutions must work. There are a lot that can be done in restructuring the state enterprises. But where are we going to do the restructuring? What is the platform for restructuring? Many of you say send it to the stock exchange. I have my questions about it. The stock exchange is today identified not with the London Stock Exchange. There are many questions about the stock exchange. That a few people control it and a few people rig it. Now, can I put any state enterprise shares onto that to help a few people? Either you all must change or we put up a new institution. I don't want any more arguments on that. If we are to use the present stock exchange, we must all be satisfied that it is neutral and it will benefit all. Because this is a country in which all the people must benefit. All the people are suffering, especially the lower end, going to suffer the most. They must know that suffering has not been in vain. That has worked for the benefit. There has to be changes. There has to be rise in incomes. Workers have to be looked after. Good education facilities have to be made available. There is no going back to an old system. We are going to a new system. And that new system is what the young want. So then shape it yourself. Look at what you want. We are undertaking a review of all that we have done. We are undertaking, or we have given the Sadhana, Samaja and others the task of looking at reconstructing the future. What do you want? So let's get those views. But remember, the first item on the agenda is the economy. It may also be the second item on the agenda. But it's without doing the economy, we can't do anything else. So I don't want to take any more of your time. You have many interesting talks and discussions, and I wish you all